Hey, so the emoji keyboard is getting an update soon, and there's gonna be more um, food options and uh, hand gestures and faces, and that's cool. Uh, there's still not going to be a search function that I'm aware of, and I mustn't be the only person that gets frustrated using the emoji keyboard looking for the ones that I want outside of my favorite constantly used ones like the cheers, beers, and the, you know, crying, laughing, whatever. When I use the emoji keyboard faces and hands, I stick with the default yellow people. And I find it confusing and annoying and frustrating that we can shade these people and change their skin color. Now, I know that's a somewhat offensive thing to say because that function on the emoji keyboard comes from a very specific outcry for representation of race. But why? I want to know why. Now, let me fully disclose my take on this, my where I'm coming from. I'm American. I identify as an American, more so a Californian and a New Yorker, more so as an artist and writer and creative, more so as even a young urban creative. I don't identify as white, not really. I don't identify as Asian. When I'm forced to choose a box, I put other, or I'll check Caucasian, given that I'm half Caucasian. And I guess I'll check Asian, even though I haven't had Asian ancestors in over 100 years. So I don't think of myself as an Asian American because it has nothing to do with my life. And when I look at my black friends who call themselves black or call themselves African American, I'm a little confused because they haven't had African ancestors in hundreds of years. And then I wonder why we are defining ourselves by our skin color. I find it divisive and unproductive. And yet I want to be as sympathetic as I can be without being a member of this community to Black Lives Matter. I want to be an ally against oppression and against the dysfunctional system still in place created by white men. I think that it's important to fight that system and to affect change, and I recognize the need to be loud in order to be heard. That said, I find it annoying. I think it's annoying that there has been enough complaint about emojis to get them to now have all these shades of color. Isn't the point globally for us to unite and be one human race? Isn't that the fucking point? Why are we going from one emoji color, yellow, nobody's skin color, to having all these shades of human skin? Do we need to represent all 200 countries in the world? Do we need to represent every person? Isn't the yellow face you like it is me? When my friend sends me a thumbs up and makes it a pale white, how is it helpful to me to be reminded that she is white? When my Latino friend or Hispanic friend sends me some other shade within that spectrum, why do I need to know Why do I need to think about their race? Why do I need to recognize, oh, right, you are selecting the color that's right for you? Why? Why is this a battle that we're fighting? Isn't the point of Black Lives Matter to confront the epidemic of police brutality that disproportionately affects Black people? Isn't the point of Black Lives Matter to address the systemic problems in the justice system wherein, you know, half of all Black men will end up in prison at some point? I mean, there's all these crazy stats, right? And the Black community is very clearly oppressed still. And it's a problem. It's a big problem. But is acknowledging your skin color and defining yourself by your skin color part of the solution? This is what I want to know. And I'm agnostic on this topic. I don't know. I don't want to tell other people what's best for them. And I won't do that. But I want to know, I want all oppressed people, all people, period, to tell me what their interests are. I mean, I know what their interests are. All of our interests are the same. We all want to be heard. We all want to be loved. We all want our basic needs met. I personally think that governments, states, rich states, should provide all of that for everyone. There should be food to go around for everyone. There should be rights, our made-up rights, protected by police for everyone. I won't say, though, that all lives matter, because I know that that dilutes the point of real discrimination. And I also don't even believe it. I don't think that all lives matter. I quite frankly think that no lives matter. Not really. Not in a cosmic sense. Life is meaningless. Life is meaningless until you give it meaning. This is my existentialist, nihilist philosophy on life. And my life only matters because I make it matter. And the people around me matter to me because of the significance that I grant them. But no lives really matter. A bug's life definitely doesn't matter when I crush it. Nor will I ever be made to feel bad for eating meat, because I don't think that nature cares. I don't think that the universe cares. I don't think that it's necessary for us to bleed so heartfeltly for the suffering of all creatures, all living creatures. I mean, consciousness is valuable. Anyway, I'm going on a tangent here. To the extent that a human life can comprehend justice and pleasure and pain, that human life deserves what all human lives deserve, which is respect and dignity and, in my opinion, basic entitlements. I think that we should all have a basic income given to us. I don't think that anyone should have to work for their livelihood, because that's what slavery fucking was. And that's what got us here in the first place, having to work against your will. Why are we working against our wills? Anyway, I just don't know if we pick the right battles when we try to fight the system. And I don't know if all these fucking emoji options are helpful. I want to express basic human experiences, like laughing out loud or confusion. I want to be able to talk in pictograms and hieroglyphics because it's fun and quick and avoids a lot of the pitfalls that we fall into linguistically. I'm pretty sure we can all do that no matter what our skin color is, you know? And I don't understand why in America it continues to be such a fucking problem. I don't live in America now. I live in Europe. And in Europe, there are different issues based more on nationality, since nations, peoples, have come to define borders and identity much more so than race. Religion as well. Europe is, it was taken over by Christianity thousands of years ago, 1,500 years ago. And it prevented the spread of Islam that was coming into it. And that fight is still, in a way, playing out, and that's a real thing. But it's not based on race. It's based on past empires. It's based on colonialism. It's based on cultural associations. And that's what the immigration debate is about right now, not race. America is about race, to the point where criticizing a religion like Islam is equated to racism, even though Islam is not a race. Because America thinks in race. Why do we think in race? Why? I mean, I know the answer. I know that historically we've been obsessed with it, and we stole people from one continent and brought them over unwillingly, and they were a race of people, and we continued to do that to the Chinese in the early 1900s, and are now doing it to Mexicans and Hispanics. So yeah, I understand America's obsession with race, but I think that it's important that we eventually learn to let it go. We need to let it go. And I wonder what role the oppressed have in letting it go. I wonder if Black Lives Matter can choose more thoughtful targets, like the prison industrial complex, for instance, or the military industrial complex that enlists Black Americans disproportionately to their general population representation, because they're poor, more so, because of systemic racism. I mean, race is an issue, obviously, but only insofar as it's tied to real issues like poverty and imprisonment. And it is tied to those things because of historical racism. But I think it's important to get beyond it. I think that my African American friends are simply American. If we must even call ourselves American. And I don't know. I think about Muhammad Ali, who just died, whose greatness I question. I mean, I don't know that much about him. I was definitely not alive when he was a big-time boxer. I don't care about boxing. I think it's stupid. So when people are saying, oh, what a great man, I'm thinking, oh, why? Why is he great? So I'm researching it. And all I know is that, Apple used him as an icon in one of their campaigns because he is a strong man that believes in his greatness. That's cool, I guess. Kanye does that. Donald Trump does that. I don't think it's automatically cool just to say you're great. I study it. I see, oh shit, this guy, Cassius Clay, cool name. He called it his slave name. Ironically, since his dad gave him the name and was also called Cassius Clay, proud Black man, and the name in the family came from a staunch abolitionist. So to call it a slave name, I think, is a little disrespectful to Kunta Kinte, the character in Roots, who was given a literal slave name and whipped until he accepted it. I just think that Muhammad Ali as a man is a bit more complex than simply someone to revere. Okay, he's a great fighter. That's fine as an athlete. He opposed Vietnam War. That's great because war sucks. But I understand, him along with Malcolm X and Martin Luther King are vital symbols of the civil rights movement, and the world that I was born into of the 80s and 90s is a less racist, vile place because of these men. And I guess Muhammad Ali is a symbol of that. Virility, really, is what he was a symbol for, and power, and proving that Black lives can be powerful. I mean, that's cool. But okay, if we want to just celebrate that, that's cool. But I think it overlooks a lot of nuance, and I think it's reductive to continue making this point that focuses on race. Now, I'm open to criticism. I'm happy with people disagreeing with me or telling me that I'm misguided for overlooking something. Because again, I'm not black. I cannot understand the struggle. I can only understand the real nuances in the real world in which people are judged, and the way that lightness of skin is a thing. Because we let it be a thing, we make it a thing, we perpetuate that thing. To call out skin color over and over again, I think continues it, and I don't know why that's helpful. I would like to get beyond it. I never think of it. I think of a lot of other qualities that could be considered superficial. When I, date women and find myself attracted to women, I definitely pay attention to beauty and even body type and style and how a woman expresses herself. But I am completely indifferent to skin color and hair color, which can be beautiful in all shades. And it is irrelevant to me what color a girl's fucking emoji is. And I wish that it was all just yellow.